to Jake Jackets. Gear up to fire the cannon and hit the ice with your host, Jay Ashdown and Jake Gehringer.
Hours are always like a benchmark, right?
Are they? Sometimes it's nice to have a good 50 to 55 minute episode.
I don't know.
That's how I feel.
As long as they're not like 40 for us.
Oh, God, no. Us going for 40, we'd have to have 2 topics. And I'm not even sure that we would succeed at getting that, like, under 45. No chance.
Well, like, I've mentioned this with, all the behind-the-scenes stuff. Like, we try to make it, like, fairly movie length, right? They're usually a lot of podcasts. Like, it depends on what kind of format you're using, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
And like we've said in the past, we like to model this show off of the SDP because they're quintessential at what they do.
Oh, you got 6 topics today, and I only think one of them's really going to take a significant time, and that's Scott Wheeler.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, that's where we're at. And we are actually, Columbus still is on the break. They don't play until the back-to-back home and home this weekend.
Bless up. I don't have to watch the Jackets for a few days.
But you do have to talk about them.
Yeah. Do I, or do I have to talk about the future Jackets, which is a lot more fun?
Well, you know what's a fun thing to start with?
A hat trick in an All-Star game?
The biggest Sunday in all of sports.
Easter Sunday.
Super Bowl is right around the corner, people.
It took me a second to pick up a Sunday.
Think of another Sunday.
I was like, you're gonna give me a second. But no, you are right. It is big.
Super Bowl Sunday is coming, and with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 57, we've got everything for you. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, all customers can get in on Super Bowl 57 with Happy Hour Super Boosts.
Happy Hour? Super Boost? 2 of my favorite things.
Hi, that's right. Unfortunately, I'm going to be working like all day leading up to the Super Bowl. It's going to be crazy.
Are you going to be able to catch any of it?
I get off of a shift right at 6:30. So nice. maybe. And maybe I'll use a super boost. Check out the DraftKings Sportsbook app every day this week from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern, which is 3 to 6 Pacific, right? Yeah, if I got my time zones right.
You are correct.
To see what prop bet will be boosted. Yeah, good for me, right? I know my time zones.
Math.
I know my time zones.
He knows Eastern and Pacific time.
Pacific time?
Yeah.
Who's your Super Bowl bet?
I bet I want to say $100 on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're both. Well, you have a team in both conferences that you root for during the regular season.
I have
kind of.
I have a team that I somewhat by association will cheer for on occasion. Really, I'm a Bears fan.
Yeah,
that's
So, like, are you conference repping? No.
No. It is. What it is I actually really like the Eagles, and I like Jalen Hurts a lot. I love his story. I've really come to enjoy watching the Eagles this year, and I have a lot of respect for Patrick Mahomes, but he drives me nuts because a quarterback shouldn't be as good as he is. Right. Chiefs fans are obnoxious. So my thought process here is either the Eagles win, and I'm going to be thrilled with that result, or I'm going to make a couple $100.
Right. Right. Well, for me, it's like, you guys know I'm the Bengals fan. and I would have loved for Joey and the boys to get in on it again.
Yeah.
Patty and Travis got their revenge.
Mm-hmm.
How unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, your mayor did not do you guys any favors.
No, fucking mayor. Anyway, okay, I'm in the middle of an ad read. I gotta cut back on the swearing. But I'm still gonna conference rep, and I'm gonna see what Patty and the boys can do for the Super Bowl. And yeah, that would be my pick in this Kelsey Bowl is Travis.
Yeah. This is like, I know it's weird to say because like usually you think like, oh, Super Bowl is obviously the best two teams. Normally it's not. Like you get two teams that are really good. Obviously they made it to the Super Bowl, but like this is the first Super Bowl in a while where you can definitively say these are the two best teams in football.
Right. Excuse me.
The committee got it right.
The committee got it right for once. Well, let's see what y'all can do to get your bets right. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code THPN. New customers can bet $5 on Super Bowl 57 and get 200 in bonus bets instantly, only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN. All the eligibility stuff, as always, is down below. I'm actually really excited for, like, hopefully I'm able to just, like, go after my shift and go to the house and just partake in all the appetizers.
Yeah.
My bet's
that's
on
the best part about it, right?
My bet's on the crock pot meatballs that my mom makes.
See, mine is always on the buffalo chicken dip.
Oh, the buffalo chicken dip is so good.
It's every time. Hits every single time.
Well, because my mom makes it with jelly and Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce.
Jelly?
Yeah, it's like a mix of jelly and like a grape jelly.
For
meatball sauce.
Oh my god! For a second, I thought you were talking about buffalo chicken dip.
No,
I was like, I've never heard of jelly.
No.
I was like, no. How does that fit?
Grape jelly and Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce for the meatballs.
Interesting.
It's so good, man. It's amazing. Anyway, so
brown sugar cinnamon, is that used?
I can't remember. It might be. I'd have to ask her.
Yeah, I love it in a sauce like that. But anyway, we got
okay. So here's how I want to do Kepi Keepers. Here's how I want to do it. Right, since we're in the All-Star. Well, yes, Johnny. I actually want to go back through the first half of the season and say who. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but
Johnny.
Yeah. So
I think we can make Kepi Keeper just quick today.
Yeah. So yes, our MVPs through the All-Star break. We all know what Jay's is. It's Johnny Gaudreau.
Yeah.
And I mean,
it's the big free agent acquisition we got from Calgary. It's Eric and Branson.
Oh my god. What else can you say about Johnny Gaudreau this year?
He's good at hockey.
He is the All-Star representative. He's just under a point per game in this abysmal, crazy season.
Mm-hmm. He's playing with Patrick Laine, and Patrick Laine is at his best we've seen in years in terms of play driving and production.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he looks fantastic.
Johnny just makes everybody around him better. He's built up so much chemistry with Boone.
Yeah,
And I mean, the hat trick of the All-Star game, pretty fun.
Yeah.
Plus, like, you know, it's great that he got his chance to do it his first season in Columbus.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it would have been nice if it was Patty, but I mean, if it was anyone other than Johnny, it kind of would feel weird.
It would have, yeah. Like, the only other player that, like, if you said before the season this player's going to be an All-Star, like the two names that would have came to mind would have been Johnny and Zach, and obviously Zach got hurt.
Right.
So for this season, considering everything that's happened, he's the only one who made sense, in my opinion.
It's still like I've I watched our clip back from when we first talked about the signing.
Yeah.
I still feel that giddy. You know?
Yeah, like I don't want to say I don't feel it. Like part of the problem I think for me has been the fact that I haven't gone to a game in a while. Like I haven't been to a Blue Jackets game since the season opener. I'm gonna be going against the Devils on Tuesday. But so like when I'm there and I see him, I'm probably gonna feel it again. But part of the reason that I haven't felt it has been the result of the season. And that's not Johnny's fault in any way.
No.
But you know, it definitely puts a damper on it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. So yours is going to Johnny Gaudreau for the big obvious reason. This is I don't
Johnny.
want
Johnny.
to agree with you.
Johnny.
I don't want to.
Johnny.
I'm like actively trying to not do this. I am.
Have you considered,
Johnny? I'm gonna go with you know what? This guy hasn't gotten flowers in a bit. I'm gonna go with Nick Blankenburg.
Really? Wow. That's not what I expected. I don't mind it.
I'm gonna go with blanks, and this harkens back to a conversation we had off air. Right?
Yeah.
When he's in the lineup, because he's had so many stints this year where he's out, like he's had 2 really bad long stretches with him out. They play so much better, and
they're like quite literally better every single time he's in the lineup.
He is such a driving force behind that. I want to see, you know, if Vlad doesn't end up coming back like on some sort of re-signature.
That ship has sailed, brother.
I don't know. There's rumors that he might. There's rumors, but what I want
rumors probably to drive up the price, I'd imagine.
Maybe, but I really, really want to see Nick get a shot with Zach next year on the top pair, like a consistent shot.
I don't want to say I disagree because I love the player, but the only reason I'd say I don't want that is because I don't think that's his role, and I don't think it'd be fair to put him in that. Because long term, your top pair is Zach Werenski and David Jiricek.
Right. But still,
so I don't think they're going to like put Jiricek into that role immediately.
No. And that's why I think blanks would fit there next year. And then once Jiricek's ready, you make 8 and 55 your top pair.
Yeah.
But keep Blankenburg in that top 4 spot.
Yeah, definitely keep him in the top 4 and give him a look on the top pair. I don't mind giving him a look there for a stint, but
because
it's got to make sense.
77 just makes everything like you just feel better watching when he's out there as a fan.
Yeah,
because of how well he produces and how well he just skates around.
Like, here's the thing about blanks that's really resonated with me
and the leadership quality. I want to get into that really quick too.
For a kid as young as he is, like, what does he do well? Does he have the hardest shot, Jake?
No.
Is he a pure sniper on defense?
Not really.
Is he just a saucer machine?
Maybe not.
He's a decent passer. I'm not trying to like say he's not a good passer, but like
no, he's a good playmaker. Like
he's fine, you know. But is he a total lockdown, shutdown defenseman?
Not really. I mean, all young D men have their flaws.
But he just it just works. Like he doesn't do one specific thing excellent. He just does everything pretty all right. He's smart.
He's a very intelligent, well-rounded hockey player.
Which is just like I know that he's older for a guy coming out of college hockey because
Overage,
usually
yeah.
if you sign, if you're getting someone out of college, if you've drafted them or whatnot, like KJ's still super young and
Yes.
whatnot. But you get this guy, you signed him when he was 23 years old. He's now 24, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's 24 years old. He's got less than 50 games to his name at the National Hockey League.
Yeah.
He looks like he's played in this league for like 3 or 4 years.
He really does look like a veteran, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And he's already shown so much locker room chemistry with the guys and leadership on the ice. I want to see, like, I had this conversation on Discord. I want to see next year with alternate captains, right? I want to see Johnny.
Yeah.
I want to see Zach.
Yeah, and you will.
Johnny and Zach, permanent A's, right?
Yeah.
Like home away, both of them.
Yeah.
And then I want a rotation between KJ and Blankenberg.
I don't know about KJ.
Like
You're a really young guy, man. Like I love the player. I don't know about that because they're both super young.
Well, because you can name three. You can name three alternate captains, can't you? With a captain.
Believe so.
I think so.
I believe so. But the reason I don't want to do that is because I don't like. I like the leadership I've seen from Blanks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would say that KJ's necessarily been a leader, and that's not anything against him. I don't think that should be bestowed upon him.
At least maybe not yet.
No, not yet. Plus, I mean, like if we're being real here, you're probably going to see Branson rocking an A.
Oh God.
just be it 100% honest. I don't know.
I guess
I get where you're coming from. I don't want to
like you know what I'm trying.
I don't want
to
put that
right?
extra pressure on these young guys that you need to develop.
Right, but like you get what I'm saying, though, right?
Yes, I do. I get where you're coming from, but I'm not sure if I'm there yet.
So that's mainly why my Kepi is going to Blanks. Like throughout this entire season, when he's been in the lineup, he's been a consistent driving leader on this very young team.
Yeah. I
really hope that continues.
Because he's a guy who's been a captain before. Obviously, he was the captain at Michigan. I think he really understands the young guys on the roster. Obviously, he's already had a relationship with KJ, and he's formed relationships with Cole and Kirill and all these other young guys. I think he also gets, as a defenseman, the other guys who are already leaders on the team. I think like it's funny. Like we talk about for a guy like when you brought in Eric Branson, like is he gonna be able to at least teach a physical edge to a guy like Andrew Peak? We haven't really seen it. I think Blanks has taken it. Weirdly enough.
Oh yeah, I mean, like
Blanks has shown a willingness to throw the body and to block shots.
We'll throw it back to the hit against.
He has to play against for a guy who is as small as he is.
Throw it back to the hit against the Ducks, man.
Yeah.
Like it's God, and you see KJ's like ghost face.
There's just
like his reaction was so good.
You know what? I'm gonna throw it back an old gem from John Tortorella. Okay.
Oh yeah, here we go. He's got balls.
He's got balls.
He's got balls.
That is the best way I could describe Nick Blankenberg. That's how I will end this discussion. He's got balls.
He sure does, doesn't he? Oh man. But yeah, that's our Kepi Keeper, JG13 and NB77. Pretty solid picks, if you ask me.
All right, let's talk about the All-Star game. So Johnny had a hat trick.
End of discussion. No,
that is all that happened this weekend.
Okay, so congrats to the Atlantic.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I had no idea who won.
Atlantic beat the Central in the final.
No idea. Had absolutely no freaking clue.
I mean, I didn't like keep track of anything really.
Yeah, I didn't watch a second of it. All I saw was I went into one of my group chats and someone tagged me. They're like, Johnny has a hat trick.
I know I saw that. I saw that
That's
on Twitter,
nice.
and I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Um,
The fun photo of the whole Gaudreau family down in Florida was really
yeah,
cool.
it was cute.
That was nice to see.
That was fun. Shout outs to our boy Mike Todd doing play by play for the mascot competition stuff.
Oh, he did?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was really really fun.
Speaking of mascots
Yeah.
and Florida,
Oh, do you want to talk about this while we're here?
let's just throw this in there, okay? What the hell happened? With this fight?
Okay, so there was headlines coming around on, like, we're recording this on Tuesday night, like we usually do. There's headlines going around today of the secondary mascot for the Panthers, Viktor E. Ratt.
Which is just a fantastic name.
I know
for-
it's so good, right? Yeah. Game against the Lightning. And there was apparently some drunk fan like harassing the mascot and the handler and like deciding to take the mascot's jersey and pull it over the mascot head and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So Victor,
like hanging him over a rail. It's just
Yeah,
like you
so-
got people around who are like recording.
yeah. So like Victor decides to take this fan's reverse retro sweater,
Yeah.
his jersey, decides to snatch it out of his hands and throw it in the trash.
Yeah.
So basically, this drunk fan got into like a fight with a secondary mascot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to make of it other than just like,
So this is from David Dwork, who covers the Panthers for WPLG Local 10 News down in Florida. I know some of you have been reaching out regarding videos showing a Panthers mascot and a fan. Here's what I know. Team is aware and tells me an investigation is ongoing. It was not staged. Sunrise PD said no arrests were made and no incidents were reported.
No, because like there was an usher there and the handler was there and everything. So it's like, what the hell? Just some drunk asshole trying to harass a mascot.
Yeah,
and like,
well, I mean, like let's be real too. Like, game has impact on it. The Panthers were at this point in the game up 7-1. They beat the Lightning 7-1, and like in the video that you see, like it pans up to the scoreboard, so it was 7-1 at the time.
And the fan was still yelling at Panthers players, like chirping and saying you suck and shit. And it's like, bro.
Yeah, no, trust me. I have been on the road before to see my team lose a game 7-1. I can assure you I was not yelling at Devils players telling them they sucked.
I mean, your girlfriend's also a Devils fan.
Yes,
so plays a part.
If she was not there, I would not have been. If she wasn't there, I probably would have left it to the second period. I'd have left with my dignity and been like, I've had enough today.
Okay, so just to finish this little tangent, so like we've seen staged things like this, right? Like obviously, gritty is quintessential in that kind of stuff.
100%. And also, like we've seen some like funny things kind of happen down in Florida. Kodak Black had an incident.
Yeah, he did. He had some funny.
What the hell's going on with
with the
Panthers? What's funny about this is like with the Panthers and incidents at their games, it is literally the epitome of Florida man.
I know.
Florida man gets into fight with secondary mascot. Florida man has someone allegedly twerking on them.
That would be Florida woman.
Well, the man had the woman twerking on him. My favorite one of all time that I learned from a game. It was a Jackbox game. Was a Florida man got arrested one time for stealing his neighbor's driveway.
Oh God!
And guy left for the day. He just started his driveway and took it from him.
So, like, we've seen staged things like this happen before, though, right?
100%. Yeah.
And I mean, I know there was
That's part of like the appeal of mascots, are like the stage, like the funny things that they do.
Yeah, and I know there was like a silly string thing that got a mascot in trouble one point.
Don't know if I'm familiar with that one.
I mean, like that was just a part of the conversation we were having about it earlier today. Just
Okay.
learning about that. Like I don't know who it could have been. It probably wasn't, because I don't know if Stinger used to do silly string stuff.
Been to a ton of I've never seen him with silly string.
I was gonna say he's usually just
So
either the drum and the drum and the
never
Gatling
done
gun,
it,
right?
or I am just very ignorant.
Right. But like that's the thing, is like stuff like this happens, right? And
Yeah.
it's planned.
Yeah, and it's joking around and whatnot. Like,
It's part of it, because mascots are mainly for kids.
mainly for kids. And like, if you're an opposing fan going to the game, like, it's not out of the realm of possibilities that a mascot's gonna have fun at your expense.
Yeah.
And normally, if you're not pissed drunk and your team's not getting the shit kicked out of you, you'll kind of go along with it because it's fun.
Right. I mean, like,
because you're literally guaranteed to be up on the jumbotron and whatnot. Like,
yeah. Like, wouldn't you love to just like be a part of like Stinger shenanigans for
like if I was
for the Valentine's Day game? Yeah.
Yeah, like even just as like an opposing fan, like, it'd be fun, you know.
Because so many of
If you're a good sport about it, like people around you laugh and it's a good time. Like,
so many of this league's mascots are also just really cool and unique, like with their ties to their teams. And
yeah, like I remember like one of the cool things, like back when we had the All-Star game, since we're on the topic of we were on the topic of All-Star games back when
right,
it was
and we'll get back
Columbus
to that.
in 2015. Like getting to see all the mascots in one place and like take photos and stuff like that. Like I was 15 at the time. I remember seeing was it Yuppie for
Montreal?
Montreal. That was like so cool because Gritty didn't exist at the time, so
Yuppie was the closest one. Yeah,
Yuppie was like the closest one to like the weird monster looking thing.
Well, until Bowie came into the picture, and
right, yeah.
And now it's just like that's the template now. Is
yes,
like
now that's just standard practice for new mascots. Right?
Gritty is just like the standard template for mascots now.
Yeah, so like that's fun. Like even if you're an adult, you can have fun with mascots for your team or for opposing teams, whatever. Like it's a form of fan engagement that's very enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, like I said, I've been to hundreds of hockey games in my life. Never have I ever been in a position where I wanted to beat the shit out of a mascot. That is a first for me.
I don't know what to say, man, other than this was just strange.
I don't know. Here's how we'll end this conversation. Like, we're gonna end this every conversation today with Zingers. The last one was he's got balls. This one is just Florida man.
Florida man, that's right. So the All-Star game as a whole it had its storylines, right? Like the 2024 game being announced to be played in Toronto.
Yeah.
And Mitch and Shanny getting to do their little presser thing.
Yeah, everybody making their jokes like, oh, this is a beautiful send-off for Austin.
Oh boy.
Which was so funny.
Now, obviously the 3 stars of the week, because of All-Star game, all came from the winning team.
Yeah.
In the Atlantic. Mac Chuck took the first one.
Okay.
Hometown guy. Or hometown player.
Yeah.
Dylan Larkin got the second.
Okay.
And Mitchie got the third.
Okay.
So not a bad 3 stars for your All-Star game, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I mean, you could have added a Johnny Gaudreau hat trick into that.
Yeah, they didn't win.
But they didn't win, so unfortunate. I thought it was funny that both him and Kevin had to wear 13.
Yeah. I think it was really sweet of the Metropolitan team to really emulate his team. So allowing him to go out there and get a hat trick and not win the game.
And still not win, right. Yeah. But they played the Central because the Central is the stronger, more or less, of the Western divisions.
Yeah.
Johnny's hat trick was a highlight. The Pacific with Bo's last ride being a highlight.
Yeah, we'll talk about his contract.
I mean, Bo and Petey having that one moment together was so
One
sweet.
shining moment.
Having like they both connected on a goal, and we were just like everybody was like, oh.
Well, I saw a bunch of Calgary fans who are in Blue Jackets fans mentions because they posted the picture of Johnny with Makachuk, and they were all like, "Oh, you got me in the feels today."
Yeah, that one was a good picture
so like
too.
it is always fun seeing former teammates together and whatnot. But like the biggest one for me, like even though Johnny was in the All-Star game and it was cool, but every chance, like as a fan who understands time, every chance I get to see like Crosby and Ovi together,
their goal was fantastic.
that is like the only goal I saw. Like I didn't even see any of Johnny's 3 goals, but that
so
Ovi and Sid
good.
goal, good God.
Well, because we're not going to get very many more chances for this.
Exactly.
We're only going to have at max like 5 more years of this, right?
Right.
If
Enjoy it while you got it, man. Like seriously, like I know that there's a lot of Blue Jackets fans for obvious reasons who don't like the Penguins, and I'm not asking anybody to like the Penguins here. Obviously,
I'm not asking anybody to like the Capitals,
but
like
appreciate these 2 players while they're still playing.
Yes,
trust me. I know they play for rival teams. You will miss them when they're gone. They're special.
They're super special. You have one of the most well-rounded hockey players ever.
Yes,
in Sidney Crosby.
And then you've got the greatest goal scorer ever in Alex Ovechkin.
And that's the funny thing is we were also talking about like, what if you made an all-star event or just made the all-star festivities like you made teams of the young stars, right? Like 25 and under, like your Connor McDavid, you have Jason Robertson, you have.
So kind of like how they did like the world like championships when they did like Team North America.
Yeah. Situation. So you have like something like that for the West, and then a team like that for the East, where you would have like Austin and Jack Hughes together and like that kind of thing. Right. And then you have teams for each conference that are like established veterans like Kane and Sid and Ovi.
Honestly, here's what I want to see happen because I think we all kind of agree now. Like the All-Star game format sucks.
But then alumni too, like bring in alumni teams that could compete in skills. Like imagine like a Chris Pronger in a hardest shot competition.
I don't know. Like I kind of just want to see the players personally.
That's fair.
It's not a bad thought. It's just like for me, like I think they just need to find a way. Like go back to you go to 2 captains.
Oh, like the fantasy draft?
Do a fantasy draft and like just they need to find a way to make the game meaningful. Like there needs to be stakes to it.
Well, because even the skills were boring this year.
Well, they complicate everything.
Everything was very like this was probably the most talked about in terms of I'm bored for an NHL All-Star game.
I think like you're seeing like with the NBA, like you think of the dunk contest and how like no star player does it. You're getting to that point with the NHL with a lot of these skills competitions. I don't think a lot of these players want to be there. I know Ovi hates it.
I mean, we've gotten.
I love Ovi for how open he is. He hates it. Like but there's got to be a way you can make it enjoyable in terms of the games, and then the skills competition, simplify it.
Yes,
it's not hard. You know, do hard a shot, do your accuracy shooting, but like
I like the 2 thematic additions. Like those, the last couple of years, they can be fun if they do those right.
Yeah.
Like the Bellagio thing and the blackjack thing in Vegas last year. Awesome.
They're cool ideas, but like I don't really feel like I gain much from it.
Well, then maybe
Like
only
it's
do
a
like.
gimmick and it's unique, but
But
it's like
that's. I'm
it's not a
just trying to think,
skills
right?
competition. Like you know what I mean? Like that's really just all I'm coming from it. Like
Right.
I
Well, then
think that
maybe
the
do.
simpler it is, the better.
Well, then maybe do like one thematic event
Yeah, that's fine.
instead of two, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Like, they could have just done like the dunk tanks or the pitch and puck for Florida, and then you know what I mean? Like something along those lines, maybe just do
I,
one.
I'd
And
get
then
rid of the shootout too.
the breakaway competition, you get rid of that?
Nobody tries. It's
That
become the dunk
okay,
competition.
yeah, that's another thing is
I
like
don't gain anything from watching it anymore. Like I remember like the days of like when it was in Ottawa and you had Patrick Kane getting the cape from Marian Hossa and he was like
the
sliding the
Superman
puck
cape,
around, the
yeah.
Superman. Like there were so many great moments and there's so much creativity. But the problem is after
Johnny and Jake.
so long of doing it, like you run out of ideas. And I think like there's just less effort being put. Like I don't. It's just not the same. The same way that the dunk competition is not the same in the NBA. Like you just kind of run out of ideas after a while. Like it's run its
Yeah.
course. I don't think it needs to be. I don't think we need to come back to it.
I Yeah, I don't know. Because I know they tried that one year, I want to say it was 2020, with the accuracy shooting the plastic targets that didn't work.
No, no, it did not work at all.
No, all you literally like
Oh my god.
that is the simplest event. All you
Yeah.
got to do, the 4 paper targets, one in each corner. Don't put one in the middle because what the fuck are you doing with that?
Yeah, you put one in the middle. Oh yes, who is the best at shooting the puck right into the goalie's chest?
Yeah, why?
How many
Why?
goals are scored in that area? No, no. But McDavid killed it. I saw he went like 4 for 4 on it.
He was
Which,
perfect. He was
duh,
he was
duh.
exactly perfect with that. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. That was cool. Like
And yet,
the other thing is like
and get this. This is the Oilers in a nutshell. He goes perfect in the accuracy shooting. He still loses.
I think the other thing is like I don't do we even need to do the fastest skater competition anymore either?
I mean,
Because you're not doing it the way you used to with the skaters skating on opposite sides to race against each other. And like, let's be real, Jake. Your fastest players are not competing in that competition.
the American
We know who the fastest skaters in the league are.
the American Hockey League did such a better job with their skills comp.
Yes. Well, did you notice what they did?
They kept it simple.
Yes. Yes, that is quite literally what they did.
And the winner of the fastest skater doing it in just under 13 seconds, like 12.9, is like, whoa.
Yeah. I also think they have a little bit more on the line with that.
In the AHL?
It's more of an opportunity to
Oh
showcase your
yeah,
skills.
like yeah.
Like I really want
That
to
makes
show
sense.
like I am fast, I'm accurate, like because
Mhm.
these are guys who are fighting to try and make it up to the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
like, there's
trying to get
obviously
to the
more,
show. Yeah,
there's more effort being put into that. They have to find a way to get the effort out of the players.
right.
That's the biggest thing from this. And I don't know how you do it. I don't know if there's cash prizes that you can attach to try and get players to have some effort.
I mean, I think they still do the car. I think they still do the car.
Like unless you're pulling out, you know, a brand new Ferrari for these guys, like I don't really think you're gonna get all
No,
the
'cause
effort
there's
in the world of Connor McDavid skating as fast as he can so he can win a Honda Civic. No offense to Hondas, I like Hondas, but like let's be
no.
real
I
for a
love
second.
Hondas, but that's
He's
also
making
the big.
$12.5 million a year.
That's also the biggest reason why it's always a Honda is because of the sponsorship, right?
Yeah. So
So
like, how about you win this competition? We will make X amount of dollar donation to charity of your choosing.
that would be a good incentive. That'd be a good incentive.
Or just a bonus in your contract. Like you get if you win this, you get X amount of dollars for it. I don't know. Like there's ways they can do it. I think.
What's your zinger to end this? Because we got to move on.
Johnny.
So this time of year, you know, January, February, we're all about resolutions, right?
Yeah.
Trying new things, trying to do big things. Everybody always wants to do big things in a new year.
Of course.
And everyone thinks that we need to, like, even after the holidays, go all out and spend more.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You know, with going to the gym and whatnot. That's like the biggest one.
Yeah, and like, yeah, you pay for a gym membership and it costs you an arm and a leg for 6 months, and then you don't go. And
yeah, you go for like 6 days. That's it.
Most of the time, though, you don't really need to break the bank for these things.
No.
Especially for things that you use every day. Like earbuds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Raycon's a great cheap option.
Of course.
Premium audio at the perfect price point. And Raycons, for me, personally, I work, you guys know where I work. I walk everywhere, and I work at the back of house in a restaurant. Mm-hmm. So I put on my own music, my own podcasts, and Raycons really help with that.
Yeah, you know, we talk about sound quality for music. It's like incredibly paramount for podcasts too. Like if you're listening to us, you want to make sure that the sound quality of us is good too.
You want to make sure our sound quality is good. If you're a big STP guy, you want to make sure you're hearing Steve's screaming or Adam and Jesse's weird hot takes.
Yeah. Hear Steve talk about getting owned by Brad Marchand on Twitter.
Oh, can we talk about that later?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. But yeah, Raycons are the perfect option because they're a lot cheaper. They're low latency. They last a lot longer than your typical earbuds.
Mm-hmm. Durability is very important for earbuds.
Durability and battery life. Battery life especially.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But yeah. Raycons also start at half the price of your normal everyday earbuds, which is great.
Yeah, that's like, the big sell here, right?
Yeah, that's the big thing, right? You don't want to end up spending like hundreds of dollars on your earbuds.
God no.
And you don't even really have to choose with Raycons. You can get one of each or a pair and a spare. Like I can use a certain colored pair for going on walks downtown and then a certain colored pair at work.
Yeah.
Kind of fun that way, right?
A little bit. I think so.
And even now, if you don't love them as much as we do, Raycon wants to make sure that you will. So, like I said, the noise isolation is one thing that's amazing.
Yes.
It's
especially
funny
on
that
airplanes.
It's funny working in like in a place where you need to communicate though, and then you put your stuff in.
And you're like, why are you communicating with me? This is the whole purpose of putting these in.
Let me wash my dishes in peace. If you need something, tap my shoulder.
Yeah.
So yes, the noise isolation is great, especially if you just need time to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The custom gel tips, like I said, you can put any different colors, mix and match them, make them look nice. Make them look weird.
Yeah.
If you're that kind of guy. And of course, the clear, amazing sound and call quality.
Yeah, call quality too.
Yeah, because a lot of times people need them for phone calls, right?
Yeah, if you ever gone to an airport, you'll just see people just talking on their phones with their earbuds in.
If you're at an airport, if you're in your car.
Yep.
All of
Although
that.
you probably shouldn't be wearing, any kind of earphones in your car. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. Unless you're like passenger or backseat.
Bluetooth headset.
Yeah. Can't wear them while you're driving.
Fair enough. But yeah, are you ready to buy something small with a big impact? Go to raycon.com/THPN today and get 15% off your Raycon order. That's buyraycon.com/THPN to score 15% off. Buyraycon.com/THPN. Boom. Okay, so speaking of Columbus, because that's our show, we're going to talk about the prospect rankings.
So I have that article pulled up.
I do too. Scott Wheeler has been ranking everybody's prospect pools on The Athletic.
Yep. We went up by 3 from last year.
Columbus clocking in at number 3. I love it.
So we just go like player by player in the article and then just give some general thoughts and move on.
Yeah, we'll go top because it's top 15, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So number 1, David Jiricek.
Obvious.
Pretty obvious. Right-hand shot, defenseman playing so far with Cleveland. He's had a little cup of coffee in the big league so far.
He's producing as an under 20 defenseman in a way in the American Hockey League we haven't seen in like 30 years.
Yeah.
Like
Kid's pretty good.
Yeah. I was surprised with number 2.
He's also a noted Alan Walsh client, so that's I think we need to
Sure, I guess. So I'm surprised by number 2 because it wasn't who I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I thought number 2 was definitely going to be somebody different. Number 2 is Denton Matachuk.
I thought he'd be in the top 4, no doubt about it. There's a ton of talent with Matachuk, and I'm super excited about him. But
he was the what pick was he?
12th.
12th. He was the 12th overall pick in this last draft.
Yes.
Left-hand shot, Moose Jaw Warriors captain, defenseman. He's a big skater, really fast kid. July birthday, so he's got plenty of time to mature.
Oh, baby.
5'11", so he's a little bit on the shorter side for a D-man.
Not like terribly small though. Like 5'11's fine size, especially for someone with his skill set. So I'm excited about like he's got a ton of game to his offensive repertoire for sure. Production is very good in juniors.
Modern defenseman, like some are a little shorter and they're always decent to really really good skaters and have
he's a good skater.
A solid shot.
Good passing. He makes a very good first pass. Really good in transition. There's lots to like with this player.
Shown leadership material, obviously being the captain of his team.
So 3 is who I thought would be number 2.
Yeah, same here.
Your prospect pool is in great shape when Jordan Dumais is your 3rd prospect.
Yeah, Jordan Dumais, right winger for the Halifax Mooseheads. I mean, this kid, we've talked about him plenty. Like just off air, right?
Yeah.
Because he's putting up numbers that are competing with Connor Bedard in the whole CHL.
Probably going to win MVP of the Q. And his production is just unbelievable.
He is lights out. And I hope
really good vision, really good hands, outstanding playmaker, has shown particularly this season he has goal scoring ability, which is definitely big for his game.
And I mean, like,
it's the definition of a crafty guy.
Yeah, and it says here he's definitely got that top 6 winger potential.
Yeah.
And in Columbus camp, he wears a pretty nice number, if I do say so myself.
I will say so. I agree. Number 4 is
Mr. half a goal per game.
The number 4 has unfortunately never registered an assist at the NHL level, but
You guys know who this kid is. It's Kirill the Thrill Marchenko, the Marchenk Show. I love him already so much.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about Kirill so much ever since he came up because we've been waiting on him forever. We've been waiting on this kid.
Yeah.
And now he's here and he is absolutely just lighting up the joint. It's amazing. It's so good. And we don't really need to spend a lot of time on Kirill because, like, we're seeing it.
Yeah.
We're already seeing it with Kirill Marchenko, just how good this kid is.
Yep. I'm excited to talk about number 5.
Number 5 is your boy, Carson Kuhlmans.
He has been very good for a very bad Wisconsin team this season.
Right-handed shot. He's 19 years old, playing in Wisconsin this year.
He has even goal differential on a team whose minus 23 goal differential and 10-18 record are both last in the Big Ten.
Oh.
So he is a little mistake prone, which we knew when we drafted him. He's kind of your prototypical right-hand shot offensive defenseman. He's going to turn the puck over sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
There is some concerns about, there's going to be times where he gets caught flat-footed in terms of skating.
Well, yeah,
he's never going to be a shutdown defenseman, but his instincts are very high. He is someone who is very, very good with the puck on a stick, makes a good first pass, really good in the offensive zone. Like good size, 6'2", 200 pounds, sturdy.
And I mean, you've been high on this kid ever since, like, prior to draft day.
Yeah.
Didn't we get him with a Leafs pick too? Wasn't that like in the Fleegy trade?
That was the Foligno trade.
That was the Foligno trade? Man.
This is what I really enjoy about this list too, is number 6. Stan Posel.
Number 6 is our boy Svo.
Notice something about this list, Jake.
Mm-hmm.
4 of the top 6 guys, all defensemen.
Yeah, and that just goes to show, like, the way that Jarmo has drafted over the past, like, decade. He works a section of your roster at a time.
Yes. And, the biggest complaints about this team right now has obviously been defense. Well, help is on the way.
Look at the cupboards, people.
Yeah.
Like, we got help coming. Stan Svozil, 20 years old, left-hand shot in Regina, playing with his best buddy, Connor Bedard.
Yeah.
If you remember our World Juniors talk, he was part of our Czech conglomerate with David and Martin Rysavy.
Yeah.
And he was like second on the Czech team in terms of overall point production, right?
I've really been impressed, like, watching him. He's a very good skater. Mm-hmm. He's very confident with the puck. For a defenseman, very good with entries, which I think is big for this team moving forward. Whenever he makes the jump, he could be an option on a power play.
Yeah.
That is one thing that this team has always struggled with.
Power play defense and entries. Yes.
Just entries, just getting into the zone. They are allergic to the offensive zone when it comes to power plays.
No, the issue is staying on side, Jay. But yeah,
I love his skating. He's got good hands. Like gap control might be the biggest concern with him, but he's still a young defenseman, and again, offensive. That's the other thing. Like Yarechek, Matachuk, Svozil, and Kuhlmans to go along with like the guys you're already on, like your Zach Werenski, like they're building a defense that has a lot of offensive punch to their game.
Yes, that's the thing, though. That's another side of the coin is Like, it's nice to have offensive upside with your defensemen.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that they're playing defense too, though.
Well, Zach is great defensively. Yarechek is really good defensively. So I'm not terribly concerned about the top. It will be interesting to see how this translates for guys like Kuhlman and Matachuk.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, you've got other guys on roster. Andrew Peak's primarily a defensive defenseman. We'll see what his future is with the team.
It'll be interesting because I've seen articles where he is centered in the like core of guys for the future.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Peaker in the near future. But anyway, moving on and going down the list. Number 7.
Oh, the best name in hockey.
Number 7. I love this kid. Luca Del Belbaluz. I love it. Center, 19 years old, playing for Sarnia now ever since he got traded from Mississauga.
Yeah.
That's what we were trying to figure out, where he got traded. He's in Sarnia. And he just recently, his last game, he scored a hat trick. If that doesn't say, like, God.
Not a gigantic guy, but 6'1", good size. He's a center.
Mm-hmm. Says here that hopefully, like, Jarmo's vision for the guy is 2, maybe 3C, power play 2.
Yeah.
Maybe 20 goals, 40 points.
Yeah, somewhere that range. Like that sounds like a reasonable expectation for a player like him. I think he projects well. Like, he is a guy whose ceiling is lower, but his floor is higher.
Yeah.
So it's a good pick.
And I mean, for like an early second rounder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing we mentioned earlier is like Jarmo. Do you actually want to bring those pictures up and talk about those? Because Jarmo's been.
I have those saved to my phone. We'll bring that up in a second.
Jarmo has been phenomenal with scouting talent outside of the first round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Number 8. He's on his way, people.
He will be on his way.
He's on his way. Dmitry Voronkov, center left wing, 22 years old, playing for Akbar's Cozens in the KHL right now.
So just to kind of I'm just going to use what he wrote here because I think it's accurate. He doesn't have an A-level defining skill to his game, just an effective, well-rounded pro hockey player. Big, 6'4", strong, uses his frame to finish checks, gain inside body position, win majority as 50-50 battles, and attack off the wall to the slot.
And he
can play center or wing.
He is like Kirill. He's one that we've been waiting for. He's one that we're like very anxious to see over here in North America.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so happy to hear that he's going to be making the jump at the end of this KHL season.
Yeah.
So hopefully he gets a little cup of coffee with Cleveland, probably.
Yeah.
Before this season ends.
Yeah. I think so.
Right. Number 9 surprises me because
he's about 7 slots too high.
This is way too high.
Yeah.
Number 9 is Liam Foudy. You guys know our thoughts about Liam Foudy. He can play center. He can play left. He's still only 22. So
he said, brilliant, explosive skater with world-class acceleration and top speed. Those things make him an effective forechecker, a threat to turn defenders, an option on flip-outs out of the zone for breakaways, etc. I don't love the rest of his skills, though.
And we've talked about this. We've talked about this with his career totals.
Not a high-end playmaker. He's not fantastic defensively. His results on defense are not great. Has not shown that he's a goal scorer in any capacity whatsoever.
He just doesn't put up points. And
he does end this by saying the clock is ticking.
Yes, and
which I more than agree with.
Well, that's the thing is our frustrations have been the fact that he is consistently playing that third left wing spot.
Mm.
And I mean, I get that, like, I get where we're at in the season and what this team is trying to do and securing a draft position. I still don't know. Like, it's just confusing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we've said he's not an NHL player.
Which he's not.
Bring somebody up that can at least look like they can be effective.
Yeah.
Even in losses.
Yeah.
Because Liam's not.
Here's what I will say about this.
Boots doesn't contribute anything.
Why Tyler Angle isn't up instead of Foodie is beyond me.
Yeah.
When you consider that the one thing that Foodie does well, skating, is also something Tyler does well.
Yeah, and we've seen what Fixie can do in that role too. We've seen Fix Wolanski.
Yes, another guy who skates.
Yeah. And Fixie's got some size to him to go with that.
Well, Fixie's only 5'8".
I mean, like, he's bulky enough. Like, look at him. He definitely plays like he's 6'2". Right?
Right.
So, like, Fixie can fill that role. And, like, how we haven't seen any of Tyler Angle's beyond me. Right? There are a lot of guys on that Monsters roster that I'm like, how? Like, can we see something?
Hockey games, like, you know that you're kind of you're in the Bedard race, obviously. Right now, you're actually leading the Bedard race.
Yeah.
This is your time to figure out, like, give a guy a cup of coffee here and there and see what they can do for you in the future. Like, right now, like, Tyler Angle's 6 goals, 11 assists, 17 points in 38 games in the A. I say it's not high-end production, but
no, but they're playing in middle six.
Don't you want to see?
I do.
If there's anything there? If there's not, there's not. You don't lose anything by giving it a crack.
You don't know until you try, and they haven't tried. But, okay, so moving on from Foodie before we get more depressed. Number 10 is Daniil.
Yes.
Daniil Tarasov, 22 years old. Obviously, he's played backup for us plenty so far this year. He's actually, for a stretch there, he was the best one. So we kind of have our benchmark for what we want with Daniil.
I don't know if we have to say too much on him. I think everyone knows our thoughts on him. I really like him, and
I like him too. He'll be a solid backup option next year.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Hopefully he gets actually more time to be the backup next year, because
the only thing I'll say about Daniil is I like it, his skill set.
Yeah.
Good size. My only concern would be perhaps durability. That's the only thing I've seen so far that would be of concern.
He's had some injury trouble. He's had a lot of injury troubles so far this year.
But, injuries are part of the game. But that is the one thing moving forward that we'll have to keep an eye on next year.
Yeah.
It's 11, James Malatesta.
Can play center or wing. Yep. Playing with the Quebec Ramparts in the queue. Malatesta was another one that looked fairly good in camp.
He is another, like, really good skater. So, Liam Foodie replacement.
Yeah. I will say that, like, this is just a general observation for me. Maybe it's just because I'm getting so accustomed to hockey names, but a lot of these guys have fun names to say.
I've noticed as I'm going through, like, this prospect list for, like, the Blue Jackets, they really love drafting. Like, when you look at the players they draft outside of the top 2 rounds, rounds 3 or later, they love forwards who are small and quick. Tyler Angle, Trey Fix-Wolanski, Jordan Dumais, James Malatesta. Like they really like the guys who can use their skating to their ability to forecheck and to create chances.
Like a Johnny Gaudreau.
Outside of the top 2 rounds. We didn't draft him, but he's on our team.
Gets it. Hey, that's just funny to me, right? Because like all these guys sound like they're coming out of a Johnny Gaudreau cloning device, right?
I'm not gonna say that.
I mean, like, just
none of these guys are going to contribute.
No, they're not going to be
plus points.
They're not gonna be Johnny Gaudreau's. That's not what I'm saying. It's like, I'm just saying that, like, based off of size and draft position and all that kind of stuff, like
I think it more. I would say more so the Cam
too. Yeah,
the Cam camp.
The Cam. I like that. It's good.
12 is Sergei Ivanov. Still only 18 years old.
Yeah, he's playing for SKA St. Petersburg right now.
So he's only 5'11" and 165 pounds, which is very small for a goalie. But there are goalies in the league who've had success at that size. Yaroslav Halak is one of them. He's only 5'11", and he's had a very long career in the National Hockey League and has had a very successful career in the National Hockey League. He was a fifth-round piss. What?
A fifth-round piss?
I was going to say fifth-round pick, and then you interrupted me, and I just went.
I'm sorry, but I was just going to say.
He was a fifth-round piss out of last year's shitter.
I was going to say, the commentators, like, ad nauseum, they're talking about how small UFC Saros is.
Yeah, because his success for a guy his size is impressive. So this is a guy who's had a lot of success overseas in the different leagues he's played in. He's gotten a cup of coffee at just about every level in Russia.
You talked about that. How like he got better as he improved.
As the competition got better, he got improved, which is unique.
Especially for a fifth-round piss.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, Ivanov is at least 2-3 years out from seeing what he can do over here.
Yeah, it'll take him some time, but like I kind of agree with Scott here, where he says like he's probably gonna be a good number 2 guy in the league.
Tarasov Ivanov, nice little future tandem there.
I think that's probably the goal as of right now.
The goal, in goal. Sure.
Well, they're trying to prevent goals, so
yeah. Number 13, nice little fun sleeper pick that we like talking about. Samuel Nasco. He's a left-handed D, played in Cleveland so far this year. Last year, he couldn't get ice time in the Liga, so they moved him over to the Western Hockey League. And he's often playing 25 to 30 minutes a night, so he's a minute muncher. And he's another guy
he was playing 25, 30 minutes in Finland's top league when he was in that league. His footwork is good. Like his gap control is really good, but he doesn't provide much in terms of, like he's not going to provide that offense that you see from Stan Svozil or Corson Coolman's.
Well, no, there's
a David Jiricek or a Denton Matacek.
Well, then there's your steady guy.
Yeah.
Right? There's your defensive-minded defenseman, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's been mainly playing like third pair minutes with the Monsters so far this year.
Mm-hmm.
But he'll be, a good depth guy to come up and actually play defense for a rough defensive core. Number 14, we're getting near the end here. Our buddy Tim Burney. We've seen him this year. He scored his first NHL goal so far this year. He's unfortunately been paired up with Eric Branson for like 95% of his time up here. But 75, I like his game so far.
Yeah, he's relatively poised in his own zone. playing alongside Erica Branson. I've been impressed with that specifically because it's definitely something you need when you're playing with Erica Branson.
Yeah, you need to be a little stout when you're playing with big goody there.
Yeah, he's pretty athletic, which is incredibly important for defensemen, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But similar to Nazco, he just doesn't really have that that high end skill to be like a true impact defenseman. He's
Fair.
probably going to be a very good depth guy.
Yeah.
Those are guys you need.
Yeah. And then rounding out the top 15 is Guillaume Richard, left-handed shot, 19 years old, playing in Providence College, defenseman. Notice that we only talked about 5 forwards.
Yeah.
In this whole thing.
Other guys that were considered, CSKA defenseman Nikolai Makarov, who's very young, so I'm sure he's going to shoot up over these next few years.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Angle and towering forward Kirill Dolzhenkov, who I like. I like Dolzhenkov.
I was going to say
he's a long-term project.
Yeah, but you've definitely you've mentioned to me just how much you like his game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our top 15, and I'm just looking at this now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 5. A third of these guys are left-handed shot defensemen.
Yeah.
An entire third of those guys are left-handed shot defensemen. We've got 2 right-hand shot Ds, and the rest are wingers. Mostly wingers, but a couple of them can play center as well. And then there's Ivanov and Tarasov.
Yep.
So mention your little chart thingy real quick, and then we got to get going.
Yeah, we have just a couple more things to talk about, and then we'll be done. Drafting success since 2010. So this is 2010 to 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't include the last couple of years, obviously, because it wouldn't make sense to do that since these are guys that just got drafted.
They're fresh.
These are most games played by players who were selected in the 3rd round or later. So it's minimum of just 1 game played.
Right.
Tampa's in 1st. Florida's in 2nd. Funny. What's going on in Florida? 3rd is Columbus.
How many games?
3,096.
Wow. That's actually really impressive.
Funny. Do you know who's in last?
The Colorado Avalanche, right?
Yeah.
They only have 719.
Yeah. 716. There's not a lot.
Yeah, that's yikes.
Which is surprising. But then you think about it and you look at their success and you think about, well,
right.
A lot of their guys are top end guys.
Yeah.
So, and then they've made a lot of trades. So, drafting success, number of players. So this is the number of players who've played at least one NHL game by team. Most on this list, there's a tie. Or no, most on this list is Devils at 24. Then there's a tie between the Flyers and Leafs at 23. The Kings have 22. Jackets, Lightning. Yeah, just the Jackets and Lightning have 21. And then a lot of other teams have anywhere from 15 to 19.
Right.
So this goes into our point when we talk about their top prospects and stuff like that. Obviously,
how their later round successes.
So they didn't include obviously Cole Sillinger and Ken Johnson in that list because they played enough NHL games. They're not really prospects anymore. They're just young guys who are adjusting to NHL life.
And they're also first rounders.
Well, this is what I'm getting. Well, the reason that they weren't included was because of the fact that they have played a majority of NHL games and they are a legitimate part of the future. There's no real threat that Ken Johnson is going to be sent down. Cole Sillinger, it's been discussed. I don't see them heading in that direction. And even if they do, it would be for a short period of time. He's clearly an NHL player.
He's an NHL talent. They just need to give him his time, Bradley.
So when you look at the prospect pool, what I want to get at is, yeah, 3 guys who are drafted in the first round.
Right.
Yurchek, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Matachuk.
Coolmans and Matachuk. Those are all good picks as far as I'm concerned. The success of the Blue Jackets have been the guys after that.
Yeah.
Gordon Dume was 3rd on that list. He was a 3rd round pick. Sergei Ivanov was a 5th round pick.
Yeah.
James Malatesta was a 5th round pick. Tim Burney was a 6th round pick. Trying to think of other guys.
Even previous successes, like Kim was a 7th.
Dmitry Voronkov was a 4th round pick. Guillaume Richard, I believe, is a 4th round pick.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't mentioned in this list, but Tyler Angle, Trey Fix-Polanski, 7th round picks.
Right.
I'm trying to think. There's someone missing in this list. Oh, Daniil Tarasov, 3rd round pick. There's
there you go.
A lot of success that Yarmos had, and just look at the roster players as well. Like, I know that Merzlikins hasn't panned out this season the way that we had hoped.
Mm-hmm.
He was a 3rd round pick.
Yes.
And it has a good chunk of NHL experience. Vlad Gavrikov might not be here much longer, but he was a 6th round pick. Marcus Nudavaro was a 7th round pick. Those are 2 success stories from that 2015 draft.
Yes.
The concern is the drafting in the first 2 rounds. There have been some successes in there, as you will get with most GMs.
Couple misses.
But when you look at 2014, they whiffed on all 3 in the first round.
2013.
2013. Yes, my bad. So 2013, you missed on all 3 that were in the first round. 2015, you had Gabriel Carlson, 29th. He was an absolute bust, and your 2 best defensemen from that draft were in the 6th and 7th round. It's nice that
but then you also got Z in that.
Yes, you did. But we're
you got your franchise.
When we talk about the first round, what we're referring to is the picks that aren't lottery picks.
Right. Stuff that comes with middle
picks
of the pack
15
lower
to 32.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of misses. And that is a concern.
Mm-hmm.
Liam Foudy,
absolutely big miss.
Gigantic miss. So I like what he's done drafting outside that. There's a future for Jarmo and Columbus, in my opinion, because of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping with these picks, like Coolmans, who was 25th overall, with Yegor, who was 21st overall, that this trend starts to shift.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was interesting.
And I mean, like, we've talked about Yegor and how much we've enjoyed seeing his game this year. He's coming back soon from his injury.
Good.
So he should be on the mend here soon. Hopefully we'll see him slot maybe into Foodie's spot. Please.
Put him on the ice. I don't care. Put him in Branson's spot. I don't care.
Put him in Goody's spot. Yeah. All right.
Put him in Goody's spot and then put Goody in Liam's spot.
You got a zinger to end this?
You're putting me on the spot here. Let me try and
How about this one?
Oh.
Let him cook.
Well, no, what I was gonna say is he was a 5th round piss.
5th round piss, that's right. He was a 5th round piss, people. Remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna get into the contract talks now.
Okay, good God. What in the hell did Lou Lamoriello do?
It's funny because
here's what he did.
So listen,
he gave him a contract that was too long and for too much money.
And yet you signed it, Lou.
Like, this reeks of like
it's Kovalchuk all over again.
Well, they're not even just Kovalchuk, but it's literally just a situation. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, I would say it's not to the same degree, but it reminds me of the Tigers with their old owner before he died.
Oh, with Illich?
Illich, yes. Where like he knew that he was going to die soon, so he was like, we're just going to throw a whole bunch of money at guys no matter how old they are. I want to win a title before I die. Whoever
Miggy,
else, like, I'm 80 years old. I'm maybe going to be a GM for like at most 2 or 3 more years. What the hell do I care how this contract is 5-6 years down the line? I'm going to sign this guy on the off chance that maybe we can put something together over the next couple of years. So he gives a contract that is far too much money for far too long, because what does he care what it looks like 3 years down the line? He's not going to be there.
Speaking of 3 years, tweet from James Johnson. Now, so let's get this straight. You texted me both when Horvat got traded to the Islanders and now that he's been extended. You texted me while I was working these details.
Well, can I read my tweet?
It was hilarious. Go ahead. I think we might have the same tweet.
Because it's basically the same fucking tweet, okay? The New York Islanders have committed $45.65 million next year to Bo Horvat, Matt Barzal, Brock Nelson, J.G. Pajot, Kyle Palmieri, Josh Bailey, and Anders Lee. Not a single defenseman was named in that list, and it's a whole bunch of fine at forwards.
But that's also like, you say no defensemen, and it's like you have Noah Dobson and you have Pelican Pulock, and
well, yeah,
like you have those guys that you're gonna rely on.
Pelican Pulock are great, no doubt about it. Dobson's got offensive punch to his game. He's a good player.
Mayfield's okay.
Yeah, he's a good third pair defenseman. Romanov was an absolute misfire trading that pick to get him. He's nowhere close to what you thought he was going to be. So, but even then, like they've got talent on defense, but they're nowhere near where they need to be defensively because of the scheme.
Here's my tweet, because they're another one of these teams that's on the older end of the spectrum.
They are old.
They're not as old as the Penguins. They're not as old as the Capitals, but they are a very old team.
Yeah.
Tweet from James Johnson. In 3 years, the Islanders are going to have 30-year-old Horvat making $8.5 million. 35-year-old Anders Lee making $7 million. 34-year-old Nelson making $6 million. 35-year-old Palmieri making $5 million.
Jesus.
34-year-old Pajot making $5 million. And 34-year-old Cizikas making $2.5 million. Let Lou cook, people.
I think the most ridiculous part about that tweet is the fact that Kyle Palmieri is not 35 yet. And the fact that in 3 years, J.G. Pajot will be 34.
I know. Oh,
I remember reading that tweet and being like, good God, he's older than I thought. Still feels like he's like 27, 28. Like, I don't know. He still feels like
J.G. Pajot, I know. He still feels like he's just prime age, right?
Yeah. No, he's older. Like, it's just such an old team.
It's so weird. Oh, speaking of Bo things just happened. Horvat scores his first goal as an Islander, and Bichette avoids arbitration with the Blue Jays.
Wow. That is unbelievable timing.
I know, right? So, yes, the crux of this, Bo Horvat getting a big extension, 8 years by $8.5 million a season.
Yep.
And that's like, there's no signing bonuses. He's just making 8.5 against the cap every single year. Consistent contract.
This is quite literally what we said after the deal. Like, in terms of value, I love Bo Horvat as a player.
Yeah, he's a great player.
Giving up a first-round pick with the protection on it, a prospect who's probably going to be a middle six forward, and a roster player who's making a little bit too much. That value is not terrible for a guy like Bo Horvat. The reason I said I didn't like the trade, and I was right, was because you were trading for a guy in the middle of a career year who was going to take you to the cleaners on a contract that he's not going to be worth. He's not.
Bo got his bag.
Yep.
Like,
and The zinger for it is just we're gonna wrap this up and just put a nice, pretty bow on it.
I like that. We got one more contract and then a quick trade to talk about too. Dylan Cozens, your boy.
Oh yes, that was
That
today.
that broke.
Love this deal.
That broke today on Tuesday when we're
So
recording.
I don't know if you saw my tweet about it.
I did.
I
can't remember.
I piggybacked off that tweet that I just read for myself about the
Wait, did
Islanders, and I said, meanwhile in Western New York, Tage Thompson next year, $7.142 million. Dylan Cozens, 7.1. Tuck, 4.75. Olesen, 4.75. Dahlin, 6 million. The only bad deal the Sabres have is Jeff Skinner at $9 million. But even then, he has played well with 20 goals and 50 points in 47 games.
So far this year, he's played like a $9 million player.
I don't know if he's played like a $9 million player, but he's played like a $7.5 million player. He's on pace for 33 goals and 84 points.
What's funny is I forgot that I bookmarked your tweet about the Isles putting $45 million into all these guys because I wanted to read it. Can I just read? Can I just reread that really quick just so people notice this?
Yes.
The New York Islanders have committed $45.65 million. That's over half of your cap space in Bo Horvat, yes. Matt Barzal, Brock Nelson, JG Pageau, Kyle Palmieri, Josh Bailey, and Anders Lee. Woof.
Not to mention, not sure if you know this, Jake.
Mm-hmm.
You know this, obviously.
You
have to pay Sorokin soon.
Yeah, you got to pay your Vezina,
and it's not going to be cheap. You're talking about a guy who is like already solidified himself as a top 4 goalie in the league.
Oh yeah, it's like a tie between
not cheap.
It's a tie between Vasi and Shesty.
That's at least $8.5 million right there.
And then what? Sorokin and Ottinger, maybe? Like,
well, if you're talking about top goalies, Vasilevsky, Hellebuck.
Oh, Hellebuck, yeah.
Shesterkin and Sorokin are top 4 goalies.
Yeah.
And then you got Saros in there. Ottinger I would definitely put in there, but those are your top guys.
I don't know why I keep forgetting about Hellebuck. Maybe just because everybody forgets about Winnipeg.
Also, he's been like so understated and so good for so long. Like he just, I don't know.
Just kind of put him in the fog.
He's hiding in plain sight.
Exactly. Okay, so anyway, Cozens. I like this. You're betting on Cozens
love
again.
This deal. Let me tell you right now, and I said this to my friends earlier. Kevin Adams might already be a top 10 GM in the league. The Tage Thompson deal is phenomenal. He hired a fantastic coach.
Well, yeah, I mean, that doesn't... Okay. The thing I'll say about Don Granato, kind of not that hard to improve from a soccer coach.
No doubt about it, but like at first, like I thought it's like, oh, thank God, it's just a breath of fresh air. Just somebody who knows hockey. No, this is a good coach.
Granato is
like
a
really good coach.
Yeah,
fantastic hire at head coach. Fantastic contract for a number 1 center in Tage Thompson.
The fact that he was just hiding
contract for a guy who is going to be a borderline number 1 center and just a really good number 2 center in Dylan Cozens, who can also play wing. The Eichel trade, they knocked it out of the park because they're getting point per game production from Alex Tuck at half of the cost, more than half the cost of Eichel.
And then you throw in Peyton with that.
And a first-round pick and a second-round pick. They traded Rasmus Ristolainen at his lowest value for the 14th overall pick and a second-round pick that they get in this year's draft from Philadelphia. They traded Sam Reinhart, a good player. I know that they didn't want to do it. They got a first-round pick out of that and Devin Levi. He signs Matthias Samuelsson to a deal prematurely, and everyone's like, whoa. And he's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, good God. Jack Quinn, outstanding pick. JJ Peterka, outstanding pick. Not to mention, They have this little kid. Not sure if you've heard of him. Owen Power.
So and a little kind of iffy kid by the name of Rasmus Dahlin. Don't know if you heard of him.
Dude, they're going to be so good in a year.
I do like that Rasmus went for Tage at the All-Star game.
Yeah. Well, they had to do it. They had to do it because you have to have one representative from each team, but he should have been in there to begin with.
Except for Seattle somehow. We didn't even mention that with the All-Star talk. Seattle didn't have a representative.
Which was a joke.
Because they decided
Jared McCann quite literally should have been there. He's on pace for 41 goals.
They decided to replace him with Chandler Stevenson for whatever reason. Even though Vegas already had their rep, right? I don't know. But yeah, I like this deal for Dylan. And it just begs the question, because these guys are up soon too. Due for their like RFA raises. What do you do with Rasmus? What do you do with Owen?
They're going to sign him long term. Rasmus will get a long term. Rasmus will get a long term deal. Owen will get the bridge deal,
like the 4-year bridge, and then go long term.
He'll honestly, I could see him just getting the same exact thing that Rasmus got, which was the 6x3.
Okay.
But here's the brilliance of it. We talk about like deals and how like they're kind of like a benchmark. Mm-hmm. Like the Jack Hughes deal in New Jersey is so fantastic, and the Nico Fischer deal is so fantastic because there's no way that guys can demand more money than Jack Hughes, right? Right. There's no reason you should. The Tage Thompson deal, he got just a little under Tage Thompson. Why? You're not going to make more money than Tage Thompson. And I love Dylan Cozens, and he's going to be a fantastic player. But that's such a fantastic benchmark deal because that sets the standard for your forwards. You're not making more than Tage Thompson. No freaking way. Are you kidding me? That deal is so unbelievably good.
Yeah, I like it. It's going to be awesome to see when Buffalo is like back in the dance.
Back in the playoffs? Are you kidding me? They deserve it.
They're going to be
waited
forced.
A long time. They suffered through a lot of shit, a lot of 5th round piss up in Buffalo. And they deserve a good hockey team. And damn it, they're going to get one.
It's a shame that I can't call this episode 5th round piss.
Yeah, it is.
Because YouTube would take it down.
So, minor trade, but a good trade.
Yeah, good trade. The Seattle Kraken and the San Jose Sharks make a deal. Seattle gets a couple of mid-round picks. Or no. The Sharks get the mid-round picks. It's like a 4th rounder.
It was a 4th round pick.
It was just the 4th rounder? Okay. And Seattle
gets a 4th rounder.
A nice depth defenseman in Jaycob Megna.
So Jaycob Megna is interesting. He's put up good defensive results as Erik Karlsson's defensive partner.
Jaycob Megna, he's 29 years old. He has been the Kevin Lowe to Erik Karlsson's Paul Coffey this year.
Like Karlsson has had the ability to do the things that he does because Megna has been so solid defensively. Like, this is a really good deal for Seattle. Like this is what we talk about with Seattle and their analytics department, making moves like getting Alfred Bjorkstrand, buying low on him.
I miss him so much.
They're buying at the proper price right now for a guy like Jaycob Megna because he put up good defensive results. They're not going to ask too much of him. A 4th round pick for a guy like that, and I think he's signed beyond the season. Like, I think he's got another year at less than $1 million. This is a really good deal for Seattle.
It's a shame because I'm trying to look at Seattle right now. I didn't realize they were playing the Isles. The Islanders are winning 4-0.
It's the Bo Horvat effect, man. They improved their playoff odds from 13% to like 19%.
Sam Bolduc scored first.
Okay.
His first NHL goal.
I'm assuming Cal Clutterbuck has a goal because you're laughing.
No, Holmstrom got his
Oh.
third.
Okay.
Parise got his 14th.
Yeah.
And then Horvat got his 32nd and his first as an Isle. So that's just funny to me because they also only have 20 shots.
So is it Martin Jones in that?
Probably Jonesy. It's probably Jonesy.
But anyway, I like the steal after Seattle. It's good depth move.
Let me here. So who do you think he plays with?
He'd probably play on the third pair. I could see him playing with Justin Schultz.
Because here's something that would be fun to me. He's essentially the same age as Jamie Alexiak. They're literally only like a week and a half apart.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they could do that if they wanted to go with a heavy defensive.
But then you also get the biggest pair in the league.
How tall is Jaycob Megna?
Well, because Alexiak is 6'7" and 257.
Yes.
Big rig for a reason. Jaycob Megna is 6'6", 220.
I did not realize he was that big.
He's a big boy.
Wow. That is surprising. I was not aware that he was that big.
So I want to see like a Megna Alexiak pairing, just two 18-wheelers coming at you, just like that would be super fun. And how's that for a zinger to end it? Big rigs.
Big rigs, baby.
Big rigs in Seattle. Okay. This is a little bit not heavier, but like this is interesting. This is more like the business side.
Won't take too long. Yeah, so because I don't know much about this one, but
so we've known that Donald Fair is no longer the head of the NHLPA.
Thank fucking
God. But their replacement should be named soon, and the front runner who basically is going to get the job is the head of unions, essentially, for the U.S. government in Marty Walsh.
Okay.
Oh no, he was the Secretary of Labor, or is. So
he was the 54th mayor of Boston from 2014.
So he's good buddies with Jeremy
resigning
Jacobs.
in 2021.
He's good buddies with Jeremy Jacobs. So like basically he'll be paid by a friend of his to argue against him, essentially.
So he's 55, went to Boston College. It's interesting. I don't know. Like I didn't know a ton about him, but 29th United States Secretary of Labor, assumed office in March 23rd of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, I mean that's interesting. Like, you know, in terms of
and he's been in plenty of unions and been pro-union like basically his whole life.
Pro-union is obviously big for, you know, NHLPA, and having someone who's, you know, obviously a brainy guy is important.
Yeah.
Someone who's obviously going to be articulate. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm not against that. I don't know much about the guy, but just from
neither do I
glancing over him, I don't think he'd be bad for the job. I can't imagine he would be worse than Donald Fear.
I mean, because that's the thing is like Bob Goodnow was the executive director for the full season lockout. I want to say Fair was around for the 13 lockout, or was that still Goodnow?
Like Bob Badnow.
It's like I'm legitimately asking though.
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
I do not know the answer to that question.
That's
unfortunately.
Fair. That's completely fair. That's Donald Fair. But yeah,
we're really on one tonight.
We are on one tonight. First,
we are in rare form.
It's right the 5th round piss effect, right? Yeah, let us cook. Let us cook. All right. But yeah, like, you know, obviously you have a guy that has a labor background that's pro-union. that's good for the side of the players.
Yes.
He'll fight for what
the players.
But the thing that is kind of wishy-washy with me is how buddy he is with Jeremy Jacobs.
Is it confirmed that he is?
I mean, like, they know each other and this kind of thing. I think he's donated, like, Jacobs has donated to campaigns of his before and things like that. So, like,
I don't know that. But that's only 1 out of 32.
But that's also one of the more influential ones out of the 32 because
it is one of the
we
more
all know
ones.
that, like, the league as a whole, the board of governors is essentially run by 5 of those owners, and Jeremy's one.
When you think about Boston, though, Boston's not like one of the teams that like sells players short in those kind of situations. Like, I know we talk about Jeremy Jacobs being an ass, but like when you think about labor and stuff like that, like Boston's kind of a model organization, and a lot of it's due to the culture by the players,
right?
So I don't know. Like, I'm not really concerned about that. If it was another organization, maybe, but we'll see.
Yeah, I guess so. And I think he's supposed to be named Monday, so he's basically confirmed to come into office.
So,
and the last thing, end this off with some football talk since the Super Bowl's around the corner.
Talk about perhaps one of the most underappreciated legends of the game.
A guy that I loved growing up watching. AJ Green announced his retirement.
Such a fantastic talent, always so productive, and always overshadowed by so many other great receivers simply because he was a quieter guy.
Didn't
call attention to himself. Absolute team player. Wish him the best of luck in retirement. He had a fantastic career.
He was one of Andy's favorite targets. Which
wish he could have added a title to his resume.
Yeah, especially, I mean, for me, just being the biased fan that I am, I wish it was with Cincy because those two were a great dynamic duo. They just never built around them very well. And Marvin
Lewis, coaching holding you back, it sinks. It's a scenario where, like, sometimes you have a player that you just wish could have stuck around for a little bit longer for something that's like built. You know what I mean? Like, how cool would it have been if he had been able to stick around to play with Joe Burrow, right?
Yeah, imagine like him as the veteran around for guys like Boyd.
Him as like your number 4 receiver who like plays limited snaps, so like he's got a lot of energy still left in him, and he can produce with a ton of talent around him. Like, could have been an impact guy. But,
I mean, if he was around still, like if he didn't get traded over to the Cardinals because that's where he ended up. Imagine, I feel like they could have done it against LA.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, maybe he makes enough plays. Maybe he's an impact guy in the Super Bowl. I think ultimately they probably still lose because, unfortunately, he's not a lineman. So,
yeah.
And Burrow was hurting towards the end of that game. He had the injury, so like.
But still, I think he would have made it.
But who knows? Maybe they pull it off this year if they have him. Like, maybe they get back Kansas City in that game if he's available.
It could have, yeah. But who knows? And like I said, I loved watching him with Andy because those two had such a good chemistry together. And I'm wishing all the best for AJ because he was probably along with Andy and towards the end of his time in Cincinnati, Carson, that really got me into Cincinnati football.
Yeah.
And then that just continues on.
And I know that they didn't win any playoff games in that era, but it was still a really good era of Cincinnati football. Because it was an era where they were finally consistently getting back to the playoffs. winning division titles, something they hadn't done in a while.
The rivalries were always fierce.
I think that culture reset, even though they didn't win playoff games, allowed them to eventually make that shift over to when Zach Taylor came in and Joe Burrow came in, and they were finally to take that next step.
Yeah.
In that new era of Bengals football. So it's an important chapter, and he was a big part of that.
Yeah. So all the best to AJ in his retirement. And we are going to take a little break.
Yep.
We're going to take a little break.
Columbus on Tuesday to watch the Blue Jackets probably lose the Devils.
For those of you going for Valentine's Day, go find Jay and say hi.
Yep. You meet my girlfriend.
Yeah.
You can
you can ask...
Don't judge her too hard when she's wearing her Devils jersey.
And you should wear your Gaudreau jersey just for that.
Oh, I am.
Good.
As if there was a question.
Right. And then we're not shooting this Saturday pre-Super Bowl, right?
No, because she's going to be here, so we got stuff.
She'll be around. Okay. So
but I'll be good to go for the next few episodes after that. So
the next time you see us will be after Valentine's Day. We'll see you then.
Until then, much love.
Jake Jackets, a podcast for fifth liners and all puckheads around. Follow the guys on Twitter at Snake Gehringer, GARRINGER, and at by Jay Ashdown. And subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen. March on.